Sean. She will be joining us momentarily. Um, so until then, I do have an announcement and a shout out to start the show off. So the first announcement is ACL Productions DJC, the miniseries, the Black Parade Poetry and Fashion event. Tickets will be going on sale soon. Um, tickets will be $25, and when they do go on sale, I will let everybody know. Until then, I am still looking for just one more poet. If you know anybody, or if you want to come out and be a part of the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Just email me at www dot I'm sorry, email me at Angela C Lane 81 at gmail.com, or ACL Productions, what is it? ACL Productions 2016 at gmail.com. You can also go look on my website at www.aclproductions.org and inquire about the production or to be in a show on the very first page. And then my shout out is to Malik. Malik. I want to thank you so much for doing my hair. I always end up messing it up, but I really appreciate you doing my hair. He always can get it straight. I can't never get it straight like this. Oh my goodness. All right. So we are still waiting for my guest Sean to come on. Um I really want to talk to Sean because she is we were supposed to do her Q&A today, and hopefully she'll be able to join us. If not, that's okay. Um I do want to talk about one young lady that I had came across. Hopefully I'll be able to actually get her on one day, but she did say it was okay for me to share her story while for the time being. She's still not in that stage where she wants to come out forth and talk with people, but I feel like even if I tell her story, then at least it will be getting her getting out there. And then one day when she has the courage to tell her own story, we can hopefully bring her on and do a Q&A for her, and and get a her story and her information. So this young lady, she was only 16. She said basically all her life she been mostly around drugs. She said she got molested twice by her uncle, and the first time that it happened, she didn't know how to react, or basically if she should tell. Of course, the uncle was saying, don't say nothing. Then the second time it happened,
Hello.
she hi.
Hi. I wanted it on, I really wanted on my computer. I don't want it on my phone. And when you sent it to my phone, it I can't. I'm just trying to get it to my computer, but it won't do
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do all that stuff. He sent it to me, and then I sent it to you. How are you today?
it. I'm good. How are you? See,
Good, good.
I try to see. both of us together. Okay.
Hey, okay. Hello, okay, this is Sean. I'm sorry, everybody. I will finish the story next time. I promise. But I want to get to Sean's Q&A. I want you to introduce yourself.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shondala Rogers, and I am a overcomer of domestic violence. Now, I'm no longer just surviving through life. I am thriving through life.
Yes. Okay, so that was her brief introduction, everybody. Now, I did send you a list of questions, so we're just gonna go straight down that list. Okay.
Okay, great.
All right. So, tell me a bit more about yourself.
Well, I am 49 years old. I am a mother of one. I also am the baby girl of 6, 4 boys and 1 girl. Um, yeah, I have a older sister, and then I have a younger brother, but I'm the baby girl. um, I I am a teacher. I'm an educator. I've been a teacher for 26 years. I also have my own nonprofit called Destined to Overcome. That it related to women. It's a support group, but it's geared toward women who are overcoming life obstacles. And also, I definitely discuss the stigma of mental illness or mental health awareness in the African American community related to African American women and brown women.
Nice, very nice. Yeah.
I'm also going to school starting December 14th for my second master's in clinical counseling. So I'm going to make a complete career change in about 3 years.
Okay.
But this is the calling that God has called on this is the purpose and plan that God has put on my life.
Yes.
And so I am following through. It's scary, but I'm following through it because I believe that God has a breakthrough. My breakdown were definitely breakthroughs for other people. And so I believe that.
Yes. Okay. So let's go back to when you were in that situations. Tell me about 2 incidences when that occurred in the relationship.
All right. So I was in, I hate trying to hold it. I was in a domestic violence relationship with my son's father. I met him when I was 18 and he was 16, but I did not know he was 16. He didn't look 16. But we were going out 6 years before we got married. The first 3 years were perfect. And when I say perfect, I mean perfect. They were beautiful. He always told me he told me about seeing domestic violence in his home with his father and his mom, but he told me he would never do that to me.
Okay.
And so the 3 years went by, and then the last 3 years of our relationship before I got married, it was horrible. It was horrible. I can think of 2 things that stand out. One, if you are from Cleveland and you know it was like a event place or like where they had cabarets called the Coliseum on like 79th and Euclid. We went to a cabaret together. I did not want to go, but when you're in domestic violence situations, before the hitting starts, the controlling starts.
Yeah.
So I was definitely in this situation. We went, we were dancing together, him and I, and that's when the butterfly was out. And he got angry all of a sudden and told me I was dancing too nasty. Now, mind you, I was dancing with him. My hair was long. It was really in the middle of my back. my own hair. And it was in a ponytail, like up in a ponytail. He kept saying, he got closer to me and in my ear, and he said, "I'm gonna drag your ass out of here." And he literally took my hair. Now we're in a cabaret. This is in the early 90s. So it was full. Nobody stopped. Nobody helped me. Nothing. He pulled my hair, grabbed me, went down the steps with my hair, and really commenced to beating me right in the front yard of that event place.
Wow.
Then that was probably the most embarrassing. And his father was there. And I didn't have a car then, nor did he. So he made me catch the bus, the number 2, back to his house. And that meant in the midst of that, I was able to, I was able to use his phone. He was trying to call I told him I lied and told him I was calling somebody, but I was calling my sister to come get me, because I was just like, that is it. But if you've been in a domestic violence situation, even that was not it at that particular time. And then the second time, I will have to say, is the first time he actually hit me was I was in college. He came down to live with me in my dorm, and he always would say, not my dorm, but I lived in an apartment. And he always say, "You ain't nothing, you fat, you this, you're that." But mind you, he had no high school diploma. He had no goals and aspirations, but he worked. And so he liked to tell me that I wasn't, going to be anything. And so we got into an argument, and it was the first time he ever hit me, and he slapped me. And I was at all like, and I was so angry, but I was so hurt. Of course, and then I called his mom. I'm like, "I know you ain't raised." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the first thing she said out of her mouth, I'll never forget this. May she rest in peace. What did you do to make him so angry?
Oh no.
And that took me by surprise. Like I said, I have 4 brothers.
Wow.
I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want anybody else to get in trouble. I have 4 brothers. They would have beat him up. And so I just didn't want anybody to get in trouble. So, of course, I forgave him. He said he was sorry. We did all the sorry sex and all that foolishness. So, yeah, those are 2 incidents that stick out. It's been, and again, I married him because we started going to counseling. We got saved, we were saved, and I got pregnant with my son, and I didn't want to have a baby out of wedlock. So I married him, even though I knew that he was pretty much not going to change, even though he acted like he was. But he didn't.
Right.
And 11 months later, I divorced him.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good. So when you was in that situation, how did it affect your relationship with your friends and your family?
Well, I isolated myself. I also knew how to put on a good face. I knew how to smile. I knew how to tell people I was okay. And they believed it. I knew how to do that very well. I had learned to hide the pain, hide the abuse, and definitely make excuses for it. Definitely. Because when people when people knew a little bit, like, why is he talking to you like that? I like, oh, we got into an argument, or he's just angry, So I hid the things that he was doing to me, so that I didn't have to really answer, and or because of the type of person I was, I couldn't believe that I was going through it. Because I'm very stern, very very in your face type of person, and
Mm-hmm.
not in a mean way, but just
Right.
out. And then at one point I thought it was a punishment, and this is when I didn't realize the relationship of Christ. I thought it was a punishment
Mm-hmm.
because of things that I had done to people, or things that I've said, or my attitude was bad, and I just thought like, well, God is punishing me for the way that I treat people through this relationship.
Oh wow. So
I think
in a
God.
way, you kind of start turning it on yourself.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And how long did it take you to tell them what was going on?
Mhm. It didn't. You know what? I think they knew, but for me to openly say what was going on,
Mhm.
it was probably before we got married. It might have been probably the third or fourth year that we were going out, like probably the fourth
Okay.
year or fifth. But I didn't. I definitely told people after we got married, but
Okay.
like they knew, but they just accepted him because they knew I thought I loved him, and I thought that this was the right situation to be in, because um, he was sorry, and then I started believing the things he said about me. And so when you
Mhm.
start believing the things that people say about you, then you start thinking, well, maybe it is true. Maybe I'm not worth nothing. Maybe ain't nobody else gonna want me. Maybe, so I'm damaged goods. And that in itself was a way to keep, you know, to
Mhm.
maybe not tell anyone.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, what was your final straw, and how did you leave the situation?
Oh, let me see my final straw. Um, Actually, it's because I didn't want my son to see that type of behavior.
Mm.
Um, so when we divorced, we were living with my mom. When we were married, we were living with my mom. So
Okay.
um, I believe I can't. It was. You know how things build up. It
Mm.
wasn't just one incident. It was things building up, and I knew that this is not the type of life I wanted my son to see.
Right.
So I didn't basically leave. I kicked him out. We got divorced, but because I was still fearful of him, honestly, for 2 years after our divorce, I went back and forth sexually with
Oh.
him. I got pregnant twice after that. So it definitely was, when my son was about 2, I I got I got pregnant, and I was like, you don't even take care of this child, so I'm not going to have this baby.
Right.
So I didn't. Um, and he was furious. And it was an incident that happened. One of my close friends, she had passed away from an asthma attack, and I wanted to go. It was on actually the um the funeral was like maybe a couple of days after Thanksgiving or something, like not Thanksgiving, Christmas. And I wanted to go to the funeral, so I asked him to come and watch, because I didn't. Another thing is I didn't want to take him out of my son's life either. I felt like he's the father; he should be, even though he wasn't doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you can watch him while I go to the funeral. Now, mind you, I didn't trust him, but I'm like, we've been apart. I just I just need somebody to watch him. So he was very angry about the fact that I had
Really?
and oh yeah, oh yeah, he
Mm.
was angry because we had lost before my son. We had lost a daughter, and
Oh.
so he was like, I mean, that could have been a daughter, all this foolishness. And so he he came over and we got into a fight. And he pushed my son to get to me. And that was it.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
I that point I had an iron in my hand. And I would, ooh, if he wouldn't have got out, when I tell you, Angela, if he
I know
wouldn't have
that's
moved
right.
fast enough, he would have had some of that iron. But he moved, he ran away. And so then I start making safety plans, like for him to pick him up or something like that. We always met in public. I always brought
Mhm.
somebody with me. So yeah, that was pretty
Okay.
much the breaking point. But I
Yeah.
had an Ike and Tina moment. I'm glad to you either. I had an Ike and Tina moment.
Oh,
And
man.
it was I think probably, and I was dropping him off. He had a new girlfriend at that point, and she was a sweetheart. And I was dropping my son off to to go to his house. And he said something to me, and I roared that engine like, and he was standing in front of the car. Yeah.
I know.
I got yeah. Look,
Yeah.
but I did not.
Okay.
But I wanted to.
I know you did. There's plenty of times I did too. But you gotta think about futuristically. You can't, react to your emotions because
You
sometimes
gotta
that
think about what happened next.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
You gotta think about what happened next. You have to trust the process, trust
Mm-hmm.
God that He says, "Vengeance is mine," says the Lord.
Yeah.
And it turned out that maybe he got stabbed, and no one would come to the hospital to feed him or anything like that. And my son was worried, and guess who went to the hospital and was able, not out of because I wanted to be with him, just because
Yeah.
it was the right thing.
Right.
So yeah.
So, did you receive any outside help or resources when you were in the situation?
No.
Okay.
I didn't reach out. I didn't reach out.
Okay. So, how long after you left or, you separate from the
Finished.
situation, how long did it take you to get back to what we call normal?
I would say this, to be honest. It really wasn't a normal. It was because I went to a next relationship and I became the abuser. And not, I
Mhm.
mean, I became the one that was yelling and screaming, and this person did not deserve it. Throwing stuff, going ballistic if he yelled, just if he yelled and I'm mad because he yelling and I'm yelling at him. And he's like, and he wasn't an argumentative man at all. Very kind-hearted man, but because I didn't, from what I went through, I brought that into the relationship, and which cost me that relationship because I wasn't,
Mm.
and so it took time. It took really learning about domestic violence, and actually, I was with this one of my friends at the time, and we started a called distinctive daughters, and we would
Okay, that
go
was
to.
gonna be
Uh-huh.
that was gonna be my
I didn't.
next question. Fast forward to now, like where are you at this point of your life?
Oh, at this point in my life, I'm healed. I believe in therapy. I'm a Christian that believes in therapy. I go to therapy. I also, through the certain things that have happened in my life, I was diagnosed with anxiety. I take a good pill every day for the therapy, and I help others. The helping others is such a wonderful thing. Because if I wouldn't have been through all that stuff with domestic violence, um, all the little things, divorce, and learning about me and who I am, and discovering my true self. And it wasn't alone. I had great support system. Had a great support system. I had a growth in my relationship with Christ, and so it was necessary. It was the plan that God had for me is to give back. And so with Destined to Overcome, it's a give back. With my faith group, I told you, I asked you to look at it, so I'm not sure if you got a chance to look at it. Okay.
Yes. I did look at it. I skimmed through it. I actually fell asleep because I had to go to work that night. But I did look through it, and I do plan on finishing looking through it too. I even commented. So I'm excited. I'm excited to read about it and see all the stuff and everything and the quotes. I seen some stuff. It was really nice. Nice. Okay. So let's see. The next question. We kind of already touched up about what you're doing now with your nonprofit and stuff like that. That is so awesome. Now that everything is over, what are some of your triggers?
Yeah. If someone raises their voice, if a man raises his voice, that's a trigger for me. But I also tell people like what I expect from them, and I use effective communication when it comes to that. Calling out my name is a definitely that ain't happening.
Right.
I don't care. And the thing is, I don't care who it is, like sibling. I mean, whoever it is that calling out my name.
Right.
So
okay.
the way
Repeat that. I'm sorry.
I said the way that someone, if they interact with me in a disrespectful way, that's pretty much a trigger.
Okay. Now, when something triggers you, what are your coping mechanisms? Like, how do you cope? Like, what do you do?
Counting and take deep breath. Really think about it before I respond, because it may not have anything to do with me. It just may be that particular person on that particular day that may feel like that. And I have to remember that other people are human and people have been through things as well. Yeah.
Okay. So counting really works for you, just taking deep breaths and counting. Okay. So let's see. So
talking to people.
Yes.
I have a support group, definitely.
Yes. That was my next question. Did you start receiving counseling, after the situation? I know you said you got your own support group and things like that. So is that your way of doing yourself, your therapy?
No, I actually go to therapy. I mean, I go to therapy.
So you still go to therapy?
Yeah, I stopped going to therapy, and about 3 years ago when I started Destined to Overcome, I went back to therapy, because when you are having people bring things about their life, you need to make sure you're right so that you can be a help and not a hindrance. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's awesome. Any final words of wisdom or encouragement to the audience?
I mean, all I could truly say that, like I said before, your breakdown is your breakthrough for someone else. You are destined to overcome anything, any obstacle in your life. The process is not easy. The process is difficult, but it's because it's work. It's not going to go away overnight, and you have to, stick in there. Get the help you need. It's so many different resources out. Reach out. You don't have to be embarrassed.
Right.
If you don't have to be embarrassed, just reach out.
Okay. Yes, that's great words of wisdom. You guys always should reach out. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Well, Sean, I do look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks and listening to your whole story, and for you to tell us more
All right.
about your nonprofit and everything. Thank you so much
All
for
right.
joining me for the first half of the No Triggers podcast. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. That is it for me. Remember, learn how to control the triggers. Don't let the triggers control you. Guys,